Alex, thanks for your time. These figures are shocking. People dying because they can't afford to put on the heating.
Yeah, Rita, they really are shocking, but not unpredictable, I think we could probably say. I mean, the likes of Professor Ian Plimer have been talking about this for a very, very long time, that we're actually at more risk of cooling and being freezing cold and, those sort of weather snaps than we are of, burning to a crisp, as the climate catastrophists will tell us. So it's not really surprising in a sense, it's tragic. And, once again, there are very real human costs that come as a result of disastrous green policies all across the world. I always find the tragic irony of what we see is the left, Labor and the Greens, push these policies here and in other countries around the world and in the EU and so forth. The very parties that are meant to stand for the working people, people who are on government pensions and the like, and yet these policies are the very things which are potentially driving people to an early grave. It's shameful, Rita.
Absolutely. And I'm going to talk about Chris Bowen's disastrous couple of days in a second. But first, on this issue, in the UK, it's been revealed the cost of net zero and the refits to households that are required aren't just going to be enormously expensive. It's simply unaffordable for so many. Citizen Advice is saying it will cost more than £15,000 per household, which, Alex, is just out of the reach of many people.
Yeah, and look, it's the same issue, really, isn't it, Rita, that this is really hitting the hip pockets of those who can least afford it. I mean, it's all very well if you're living in a mansion on the harbour in Sydney or somewhere like that, but most people are not doing that. Most people can't afford just to simply, whip out and put some solar panels on or whatever it may be, even though they may have to. This has come as the result of disastrous green energy policy for decades now, really turbocharged in the last decade. But we're now seeing the costs going up. I think there's a prediction that it'll be something like 39% increases in energy bills over the next 12-month period for Australians. Now, this comes on top of already high costs of living issues with high mortgages, enormous inflation rates. And this is all off the back of the Labor government promising $275 off each energy bill. I think they repeated that 96 times during the election campaign. We're not getting anything near that. And in fact, the dial is going in the opposite direction. It's shameful. We live in a country where we are so blessed with energy and resources that we should be simply selling it to the rest of the world, using it ourselves, digging it up in the case of uranium and nuclear energy, storing it and then rolling around in $100 notes. It's a disgrace.
We should be. We should be taking advantage